Had a washing machine go, and ended up trying to call them, they just needed someone to tell them what's wrong with it. It was $125 into the door, and I said, I'll take it. The evening but he was 3 to 4 weeks out. I go, you're kidding me. So, crazy.
Okay, 6 o'clock. I'm going to call this meeting of the South Thompson Select Board to order. September 27th. The first order of business is we have to conduct a public hearing regarding adoption of updated appendices A through H for our general assistance ordinance. Just a little bit background, we use the model ordinance provided by the Maine Municipal Association in their appendices, and the appendices basically set the amounts for different assistance, levels of assistance based on family size and so on and so forth. So this is an opportunity for anybody who so wishes to comment upon this proposed ordinance. It is an ordinance that under the law the select board can enact and amend. So I'm going to open the public hearing if there's any comments. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion to adopt the amended appendices A through H?
I move that we adopt general assistance ordinance appendices A through H.
I'll second.
Second. Further discussion? All those in favor? Can I ask you how many cases you had, say, over the last year?
Last year we had 2.
Two. Okay. So we need to sign the form because you have to send it to.
That's in your folder of things that you can sign.
Okay, so we'll get that after.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to take a couple of things out of order. Terry has someone to recommend to us as a new hire in the town office, town person, if you will. Why don't you do the introductions and
Anna Maholan.
Hi.
I'm hoping that you will hire her to be our new town person. She has very good recommendations, and we're excited to have her start. She's going to start on Monday.
oh,
Approved.
wow.
She lives on the Denison Road with her fiance Ryan Colson, who you appointed the captain of the ambulance service a little while ago.
Okay, great.
They have a 2-year-old son.
Oh, great. You want to tell us a little bit more about yourself, or?
This is like my second job. My first job, I've been in the hospital for long-term care for about 2 years. So this is kind of what I've been transitioning to. I'm still working there this next week, but yeah.
Okay. Question? Okay, is there a motion to approve the hire?
Make a motion that we approve the hire of Anna Maholan as the town person.
Second. Further discussion? All in favor? You're welcome. I mean, welcome. I was gonna say, what I was gonna say is welcome aboard, and then you said thank you. Welcome aboard. Hope it works out. They're really looking forward to it, so. Okay, I'll try to adjustments to the agenda. I would like to add, I'd like to add just perhaps some discussion about work on the Little Red Schoolhouse or potential work there. Do you have anything, Terry?
No.
Jeff? Sue?
No.
Okay. Public comments for items not on the agenda? Any comments for items not on the agenda? Okay. Review and approval of the minutes of September 13th and September 19th. Is there a motion or motions or?
I move we approve the minutes from September 13th and September.
I'll second that.
Further discussion? All those in favor? Okay. I'm gonna, take a few things out of for here. Cliff, Gasco has asked me on the agenda to talk about the funding mechanism called Smart and Connected Community. I know Cliff's always busy going to his next meeting, and you said you would be brief, so I'm gonna take you out of order, and the floor is yours.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate the opportunity of addressing the select board. So we have an opportunity to participate in a project from the National Science Foundation using an award that I've gotten from the principal investigator. And what it is it's a pilot study to look at remote monitoring for predicting change in the health of people with chronic diseases. This pilot study is in congestive heart failure. And the collaboration for this mechanism through the National Science Foundation goes through a group called the Smart and Connected Communities, which is the idea is to use connectivity for some benefit that couldn't accrue to the community without the connectivity. So this collaboration the proposed collaboration is with three towns, South Thompson, and St. George as the communities. EMS, because we have a conjoined, as you know, conjoined EMS. And Amy and Tom Judge, who is the head of Lifeline for the state, are very keen on doing what's called community paramedics. That is getting the paramedics off the truck and going around to see people in their homes, people are homebound or have mobility impaired, and do some monitoring and interventions that they're capable of in the state of the scope of their license. The device company is a company called Ken Image, which is in Ohio, and has developed a device, a handheld device that measures water in the skin, so-called interstitial water. And this changes several days prior to the onset of the decompensation event in heart failure. Our information partner is going to be the Rue Institute. And let's see, so we have EMS, we have the towns, and the clinical partner will be Knox Clinic in Rockland. It's currently Rockland. And so what I would like to do is just get it, I don't think I need a vote or anything. I want to ask the select board if it's acceptable for South Thompson to be one of the participating towns. It's not going to cost anything. I think this time you're not going to get anything because this is a pilot study. However, once we submit the results of this pilot study for a larger grant, there will be some support that will flow to the community for offsetting EMS costs. That's it.
So my one question, which you answered before, but I'll ask you again publicly, you've obviously had a thorough discussion with Amy.
I did.
And she's on board 100%.
Yeah,
And
several, and the Tom, but
okay. Other questions or comments?
No, that's great.
Yeah.
I actually think we probably should take a vote. I do. Just to basically say that the select board has supported the idea and in a formal vote. And so if anybody's willing to make a motion, I think it can be just sort of a general supportive of the pilot study in South Thompson participating or something like that.
that'd be great because then I can go to St. George and Thompson and say there's like that vote.
Yeah, I'll make that motion. Quite sure what the study is.
You say, I make a motion, what he said.
Right.
Exactly. Have you got that, sir?
Yeah, what he said.
All right. Well, why can't we simply say we'll make a motion to participate in the pilot study for called for smart and connected community with St. George and Thompson. Like that. That work?
That work?
Okay. Do a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Anything else? Any questions from comments? Okay. All those in favor? Further discussion? Sorry. Okay, all those in favor?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very
And
much.
I'll report back as it goes on.
Yeah.
And,
Thank you. That sounds fascinating. Yeah. So also, we had, sorry, I'm follow my catering application from On the Rocks. You hear?
Yes.
Some support. Okay, to speak to that if we need to. The application was in our packet, correct? And this is for a Thanksgiving celebration at the Saltwater Field from 5:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. I don't have the date in front of me. There's the application.
November 23rd.
Yeah, okay, November 23rd. About 200 people. It's an indoor event. Are there any questions, concerns? Is there a motion to approve?
I move we approve the application for the food function at Saltwater Fields Wedding Event Barn for the 23rd of November.
I'll second that.
Further discussion? All those in favor? Okay. Do we have to sign that before
Yes.
so he can carry it out of here with him? I know it's in my folder, but it won't do it anything to go to the
No.
third, so.
Do you want to do copies of it before?
Yeah. And I don't see Mr. O'Brien here, do you?
No.
So we had, agenda item, I was gonna take that up out of order, agenda item 6B. Peter O'Brien had asked the board to consider proposing a noise ordinance in the town of South Palmerston, but he's not here, so I would accept a motion to table that. And if he comes back, we can do it then. Further discussion? All in favor? I suppose if he comes in late, we can take it off the table again.
Was there any other details on that, or like, what was is it just for the town, or was it just for?
We hadn't really gotten into it. He had just come in and was complaining about a generator running, and he was sort of amazed that the town didn't have a noise ordinance, and I told him he should move to Spruce Island. But if he thought it was noisy, and then we put it on what, last month's agenda, and then he called and said he couldn't make the meeting.
Right.
Also, we moved it to this agenda, and he's not here tonight, so I
So
don't
that
know.
would be for the whole town?
We didn't get that far.
Just-
I mean, he just made this request, and we never really got, I mean, it theoretically could be, other ordinance could apply to zones or the whole town or whatever, but we never got that far, so I can't answer that. Okay. Thank you, Terry. So I'm gonna take, also out of order, Theo Pratt has asked to be on the agenda tonight to discuss the community resilience partnership that we approved to participate in a few weeks back, or maybe a few months back now. So do you wanna give us your chat?
Sure, I just wanted to update you on what's going on, we heard from Meg, and we met with, the people in Ellswood, Catherine, I'm not sure what I'm saying, but anyway, she's the head of the Alfred working group for this program. For those of you who don't know, what it is a community resilience project and one of the and town up with Marshall. So what we're going to do right now is that Alice said and the working group in South Johnston will get an informal meeting with Meg prior to her official start date. And so the status right now is both communities are pulling together a group of about 7 people. Will meet jointly because we will, if this all works the way we plan, our 2 communities will be applying for grants jointly. And so I've got 5 members of our working group. I'm looking for a couple more. And if I didn't say this before, we really would like somebody from the vision community to be represented, because the idea is that the working group should represent the entire community. So I'm trying to have diversity. And so if anybody that you know is interested, would be interested in being on this working group, that would be great. And also permission to get something on the town website, explaining what's going on and asking people that would be interested in serving, to step forward and
I think the website's fine, you can coordinate that with Terry. I would suggest we actually send something out on the listserv though. I think that sometimes is more effective than the website because it comes to people as opposed to people having to.
that's fine. I prefer that too.
And that list continues to grow.
Yep.
And hopefully our new hire will,
Hopefully.
ask people when they come to the door if they're on the list. Are you through? Is that it for your presentation or do you have more?
No, there's really nothing more than what
Okay.
we pattern because Meg's grant hasn't been approved yet.
Okay,
So she kind of, doesn't want to do too much work if she doesn't know she's going to be paid for.
right.
But she's committed to doing this thing on in any case, whether she's doing it, if she's doing it.
Okay. Question?
I've got a small one. The way I understood her presentation to us on the program, you can either do it as a town, or you can join forces with others. But once you did that, it then restricted the number and the amount of money given in those joint ones. So that it was almost better to do it as an individual town. You can do more of them and get more money. But, so have you thought about that or have you gone down that?
I think, yes, I was aware of that possibility. The thing is that if you are going to do it on your own, now you're looking at a lot more expertise to gather in the community because we would be, going for these grants just as South Thompson, and we would have grant writers involved and so on. Whereas if we do it through this partnership thing with Meg, she's going to be guiding through the whole project. So Meg is available if we do it in the collaborative mode. There is another person, a regional coordinator, who's available for communities that want to go on. So.
I guess I didn't understand that either. I thought Meg was going to be
That's what I thought.
our South Thomaston's facilitator.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that the condition of her being a facilitator was we had to then join a consortium of towns. So I don't think she made that clear.
Well, I don't think she did, and I don't think she, we didn't understand it either, but then as we started working with it, Catherine and I met with her, and that's the way she presented it, that she wanted to do it with the 2 towns together. So we can choose to go another way. If you want to pursue it, I'll certainly bring back that information.
Okay. My impression was we didn't have to choose one or the other, that we could do both.
No, I
Well,
didn't think that.
Well,
Yeah, I thought you had to pick one or the other.
I
think it's you.
yeah, I do too, and the reason being is just how much manpower do you have
Right.
as South Thompson to, go forward on your own?
Well, that's what I thought she was going to do. That was the whole concern I had at the beginning about this.
I'm a little nonplussed that, that the kind of slow rolling it as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know I don't feel like I can say, well, that's not sufficient. You have to speed it up for us and.
Oh, no, I'm not, the speed's not the issue. It's I didn't realize that, by in supporting her as our facilitator, that forced us to enter a consortium.
Okay, I don't think we're forced to do anything, and if there's a feeling, I would like some feedback on this. You know, yes, there's more money involved, but it's not, it's gonna be more work. Well, which is fine, that's what you want. The big issue here, that we haven't even gotten to yet, and what we're working with, was what do sometimes do you want? Because the first thing that you do is you have to go in and say, we want to do X, Y, and Z. And then you ask for funding for the program, and we haven't even gotten to that step yet. What does the community want?
And that's kind of leads to my fear is if we're working with another town, that's gonna be even more of a complicated process.
If we were
And
working.
particularly if they those interests diverge.
I mean, nobody's finding anything.
No, I understand that.
Yeah, and I really like your input at any point. And so, like I say, I'll be reaching out to Catherine again and, see how they're feeling about it and all. But that was, I know that's the way it is. Yeah, tell me what you want me to do, and I'll be back at the meeting.
Well, I'm all for you pushing ahead, but I would like to get a warm fuzzy that we're not burning any bridges that we'd rather do now. So I think at some point in the not too distant future, I would like to sit down with her again. We can discuss it.
Okay, sure.
Whenever the boys and I got the question.
Does she have a sense on when she'll know whether she's gonna get the grant to become our facilitator?
Yeah, and not until, she could be October 13th.
Oh, so right around the corner,
It's
really?
not that bad.
Yeah, no. I thought you were gonna say like next May or something.
She's just waiting for the Augusta to approve her application to be paid.
Which is why I was thinking it could be next May.
It's not gonna be that way. But I really, and like I said, I do want to talk to Catherine because, we had a good first conversation. And see-
Catherine is,
Okay. Yes. And so, and find out from her what Alpha is thinking, how they're thinking of this. So,
and as far as I'm concerned, I mean, this may sound kind of stupid, but I'll say it anyway. I've never been not accused of being stupid, but, I don't really have a sense at all what I want to do. I mean, you sort of came to us and we sort of said, okay, and so,
So that's.
so I don't have a vision here, and not only that, I don't have time to even think about it.
Well, that's probably what we're working with, and we need to
Yeah.
have a first presentation to community. And I'd like to, as I say, I want to see all aspects of our population represented so that when we do sit down and say, okay, what do we want to go after? You are hearing from a representative group. So this is really where I feel right now. We can have a meeting just for us now, of working group, and talk about, get started on that. The next step is actually a survey of the citizens about what they want. But you gotta have somebody setting up the survey and the first meeting to.
And that's a lot more work than
And Meg's
meets the
not
eye.
doing that. That's why, Meg's not doing that.
Yeah.
That's me.
So do we want to invite Meg to our next meeting, even if it's by Zoom?
Or it's after the time that she gets approved.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm not sure she's had any.
It's October 18th.
The next meeting.
Can I suggest I talk to Catherine and we put that on?
Yeah,
Al?
and I want to be clear too, I'm not necessarily opposed to working with Al's. I just see this as fairly complicated, and I see this as making it potentially more complicated.
Okay,
I mean, that's kind of my concern,
well,
particularly if, again, if the interests are not sort of aligned or parallel, or whatever the word is, you know what I'm saying? So, which I don't think we know yet, so. But that's just me personally, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And the other part is I don't want to go down, because what we're doing now is kind of establishing the joint track and leaving behind the individual track. And I just want to make sure that we're not getting too far down this one and then find out, oh, we wish we had done the other one.
I
See,
More
I-
information on it.
Yeah, so I just need
Yeah,
more information.
I can get that from you.
Yeah.
in the coordinator.
Yeah.
So I'll get that to you.
I think the big surprise is that we didn't, and to my recollection, Meg didn't make it clear that in order to have her involvement, we had to be this big of a.
Okay.
I thought she was involved either way.
That's what I did too.
Yeah.
And that it was our choice. And because it sounded like she actually encouraged you to do it as an individual town, because she's the one that brought up the fact that it limits the number and the amount. If you do it as a group, there were restrictions on what you get for a grant.
I heard you loud and clear, and I think part of what's going on here is nobody's saying anything.
Yeah,
And
I'm sure.
everybody's making it up.
So why don't we temporarily have Terry put it on the agenda for the 18th? We can always table it or take it off as we finalize the agenda. And that way we won't let it slip away, because I'm leaving on the 19th for 2 weeks.
So you're saying October 18th?
Is our next meeting, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
right. Okay.
And she may know by then or may not. But at least we won't lose sight of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that'll give you time to talk to Catherine.
Yes, that's what I'd like to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm educating on this, because really, I think everybody's making it up.
Yeah. Did you have a question?
Yeah, just one question, these grants, it's a grant, right?
Yes.
The grants, what is available, what are the grants?
Okay, there's a whole list, and if you want to give me your email address, I'll send it to you.
I think it's, you have to compose an email that's gonna be distributed to people who want to participate in the survey, so that they come in with a frame of mind that's prepared, and, and same thing, and give a good, as wide as possible, sample of grants that were already approved, so that people get an idea of what's possible. Because right now, we're like in the big Netherlands, and people have no clue. So, if it's charging station, if it's solar panel, if it's whatever, like a road, raising, so that we have some idea of,
Well, there's a whole list.
Yeah, that's the key, but people need to be made aware of that.
Well, that's what this working group's gonna do.
Yeah,
Would you like to be on it?
well.
But in direct answer to your question, there's a whole list of like 64 things that she can send you.
Well, when she gets on the website, or that we get an email from them, or we, from the town, that would be the.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is that this working group is critically important, because these need to be people that are well known in the community, who say, okay, we're gonna have an outreach, we're gonna have a talk about this program, and when the community looks and says, oh, here's so-and-so from the fishing community who's well-known and respected, and he's on this working group, they're gonna be much more likely to come. And like Penny, was on the work?
No, but I mean, it could be a woman from the fishing community.
Right,
I think
right.
Chris would be a great one.
She would be
Yeah.
great, I think she would be very great, yeah. So, and, and there's other commercial.
Yeah, well, I don't think there's any disagreement up here on that. It's just good luck finding someone.
Well, that's what it is, but actually, I would welcome suggestions for anyone who can say, so-and-so would be a good member of the working group, and, that's where I am.
Yeah.
Like I say, I've got 5, and they're great, but we're missing that fishing community link, and I'm probably missing something I haven't thought of yet. And we could do the working group meeting next week,
Mhm.
just by ourselves, we don't have to do then I'm putting it off until I'm my own. Would you like to go?
Yeah, all right.
See what I said?
I'd
Good luck.
like to see more, I'd see more, I'd like to see more of the, what it's all about, what, and, before you say, hey, sign up for something that you don't know anything about.
Yeah.
What, it sounds great to me, but, I just need more information.
I know what one people at the library that feel that that's what it's done coming in, they can't leave, it's one of those kinds,
Yeah.
but you're about to come in.
Yeah, please. And the working group is temporary.
Yes.
Because the working group is just to get us to the stage where we know what we're applying for. It's not, they don't have to stay with it for a year or 2 years.
Well, certainly we can send something out on the listserv saying we're looking for people that would participate, agree to volunteer, to serve on a working group for the community. Just keep it very
Yes,
simple.
Yes, that's what I want to do.
My suspicion is you're gonna get the responses like we get to every time we send out for planning board and budget committee. I don't mean to be negative, but.
No, but I've done my best luck by approaching individuals.
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah.
And, and then again, that's where you have to, I've done what I can with people I know, and I got 5, but I have no connection to the fishing community, and I have no connection to some of the other people that need to be included in this, so that's where I need to have. I've already talked to someone, she said, yeah, no, and she's gonna get back to me.
Okay, well, let's, we
I-
can move on then.
At some point, I would like, when it is,
Oh, go ahead. I didn't know you.
I've been trying.
Okay. I apologize.
First of all, yeah, I do think the more the community knows, you're starting to think about this, and here's sort of the parameters and here's, and it's just a sample list of the kinds of things you might go for. And we're looking for people who might be interested. It's hard to get somebody to sign up for something that is a black box. And so, if you go one by one, but if we want to just try and reach out to the people that we don't know might be interested, let's use the list group and get the word. Also, David mentioned that there's a different person who could be in Meg's role if we go it alone.
She did not be in the middle school,
Well,
but she's a different avenue.
someone who would work with the town if we went after a grant,
She
not
worked
going
with, she worked with the town, not with the town.
Maybe, I don't know if it's appropriate for you guys to have.
The point is just.
We're in the middle of a
while we're
meeting,
waiting
so.
For Meg to tell us what she might do if we worked with Alfred, we could also pursue what it would be like to work on this other town.
I have a great idea. Would you do that?
Well,
I probably can't take on much more, but I'm just.
I don't think there's any opposition from what you want to do up here. It's just, I think we made it clear when we went into this, we didn't have a lot of time, I personally,
That's what I'm.
to do it. So, but we're not opposing any of you, but when you say, but I think it's gotta come from you and other folks.
Yeah,
I thought I made that clear. so.
I'm perfectly clear.
Okay.
That's clear, but we also do, I appreciate getting the kind of feedback that it doesn't sound to me like the select board is 100% comfortable with going in a dual thing with Alfred. It narrows our options and reduces the money.
Well, I think it took us by surprise here tonight,
Yeah.
more than anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we said we're hoping we can get some clarification from Meg,
Mhm.
so.
Well, and that's why I remember this meeting.
And, in terms of, using the listserv, I mean, if you get something to Terry, we can do that, we can,
I'll get that
Yeah.
right away.
I mean,
So
we-
let's do
I mean-
that and just explain exactly what the working group is and what we're
Yeah.
asking people to do. They're not signing up to do the project, they're just signing up for this
Yeah.
initial phase of it.
okay. All right, I'm gonna move on, because we got a lot to go.
Thank you, guys.
So, thank you. Is there anything else here where someone wants to? get out of here, so to speak. I don't think so. So I'm gonna go back and take things up in order. This is sort of a continuing item, discussion on the second tranche of ARPA funds. Our current balance is 70,456. Just a minor housekeeping item. I was under the impression that we had already approved buying a TV for the owl at the library. Did you get a chance to check that out?
We did not approve the owl,
Okay,
because Penny said she had a TV that she thought would work, and
okay.
she since found that
and
it
now we
doesn't
don't.
really work.
So are we willing to move ahead and approve that? Because we got the owl sitting there and nothing's happening, and, so I don't know, we can say up to so much money. I don't know how much. Do you recall? I mean, are we talking like a TV this size?
No, not quite that big. I think it's, I mean, here as I can tell, it's like if you have the corner, it's like a 55 inch, the one that you and Leslie got now.
Yeah,
Is a nice size, sits on that fireplace, and, is big enough for the whole room to see.
just doesn't work.
Except it's so old that, yeah, the HDMI plug is broken, so we'd have to do the VGA adapter and kind of lose a lot of picture quality.
Yeah.
And so we're using it for PowerPoint presentations and whatnot.
Yeah.
I just to make it easier.
Yeah, and if you're gonna use it for meetings, you want a TV that you can, that's decent size.
Yeah, we have a smaller smart TV that we used for the first program, and it was just photos, but because they were mostly in a portrait format, that made them about this big, and so I don't know the people back then could really see what's going
Have you
on.
priced out different ones?
Well, like around 600.
So if we said up to 800, that would more than
I
cover
think so, yeah.
it. Would someone care to make a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion that we approve up to $800 purchase of TV for the library.
Out of the
Out of the
AR.
train.
Okay, second. Further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, so we can get that set up, all right. So now, back to the bigger discussion, we had a number of ideas floating on the table. I actually haven't personally advanced anything else. I'm not prepared to make any concrete suggestions tonight. I don't know if anybody else is.
Well, I mean, we had discussed heat pumps
Yeah,
for in here and then air filters or filtration for the.
Yeah. but I don't know that we've gotten any prices
No,
or
not
had
yet.
anybody look at it.
But I will, I mean,
You want to take that?
yeah.
Okay, great.
I'll get it, so.
Yeah,
that can come down.
Okay. The other thing we could do is we could use these funds to hire someone to take a look at this building from a kind of a comprehensive point of view of filters and
Before we do that.
before we do anything, before we actually purchase anything. I mean, we could use those funds for that purpose. And then maybe turn to like the efficiency main funds, because
Right,
to actually do it.
Yeah.
Um,
so get like an energy audit.
Well, yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, if I remember correctly, those efficiency main applications are incredibly complicated. And you're gonna put a lot of detail in about how much energy you're gonna be saving, and they were just way beyond my technical capacity.
We had that done at the library, and it was done by Ron Penny, the electrician.
Yeah, no, I think an electrician could do it,
And
you
he
know,
came in and he did the whole thing, he handed over and said, this is how much it cost, and this is what you would pay, and this is what you would
Yeah,
get back.
right, but I'm thinking of something a little more, I mean, the electrician typically doesn't do ventilation.
No,
I'm thinking of something more, a little more like hiring a mechanical engineer to, take a look at. That's a possibility that we could use these funds for. I'm not pushing that tonight.
well,
And that would give us something that we could then use to fill out applications for other grants which actually do the work, is what I'm thinking, but I'm not prepared to move on that, but
I mean, you could go and call a company, I know of one called the Breathing Room. I think it's out of Augusta, but, they are about ventilation and air and, the heat pump installed, they work at my house to install a pump. And, you know, they definitely will go up the ceiling and,
Mhm.
where you can prevent and so forth, and really make it,
Yeah.
there for
Yeah.
everybody.
I think there's a lot of mechanical contractors around that can do that. It's just, when we initially got these funds, I called one of the guys at John Hanson, Jesse, that did the work here. And he was like, I'm booked out a year and a half or something. You know,
My
I mean,
point is, I don't know why we would have to pay for that. If you ask several installers, to come and, you want a quote on installing heat pumps and having proper ventilation in the building, they will develop a plan, each of them, and then you can compare them. And they will be eager to fill out all the applications when you say you want to go ahead.
that's not been my experience, but anyway, we can try. We can call there's a couple mechanical contractors around town. I think it also depends on how busy they are. If they're busy,
I think they're all busy right now.
right, yeah,
Honestly.
that, but that's just a thought,
But you can get on the list.
huh?
You can get on the list,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
I still think we ought to get some
Go
numbers on.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do too. I don't disagree with that. I mean, maybe we should just put it, I just hate to do a helter skelter too.
because if the people come in to install it, I think they have to have some HVAC experience too, don't they? I mean,
Yeah, I think
so,
so. Okay. More to follow on that. Did you find out when the deadline is on that? No. Okay.
Are you about to leave the ARPA money?
Yeah,
I had a
Oh.
couple
yes, you,
different ideas.
okay,
So, one of them was inspired by Dr. Bacco. I had talked to Debbie about it too, because now that we have left the village school to go to the public school building, we do not have an AES in the building. And that was the public defibrillator that anyone can use to talk to and tell you how to use that. And I think that might be a very good thing for us to have.
I agree.
I think we should have them here.
I'm afraid we don't.
You do have them young ones, but if
you probably
it's
should have
that
one
one,
in both buildings.
Well, yeah, we do have an ambulance, and I assume there's one in the ambulance, but
oh,
that,
yeah, but not for public use.
But it
Right,
should be
exactly.
someplace where
Right.
somebody here can quickly grab it and.
Yeah.
But if the ambulance is out, same thing.
yeah, exactly. That would be a fine idea by me. I'd be willing to move on that any minute, actually, and I have no idea how much they cost or.
Debbie said that, they range, that if, I think the one at the village school building was like $17.50, but that was several years ago. So I think she said it could go from there to about 25 with her.
Well, Terry, is that something you could maybe just research and, I mean, I have no problem. I just don't know what to approve. And you said you had a couple ideas?
Well, the other thing was the lighting in the parking lot. Our first program got out at 8 a couple weeks ago, and it was dark. Parking lot was dark. We installed solar motion activated lights on all the doorways, which is help, but then, you have to do it with no sun, and they're not really effective. So I would like to have an electrician come and reinstall or restore the porch lights that are operated by a switch, and not the whole outdoor lighting system, the prison lights and everything operating on the time only. But that does not include anything that lights up that parking lot. That parking lot's very dark.
Mean side lot.
Yeah. And I didn't want anything to be on all night, because that would just encourage the use of big park after hours. And that's supposed to be closed up to dawn, so I had a couple of thoughts. Can we get on the LED circuit that runs all the streetlights in town, because those are you can operate them remotely. the purposes, or we get a motion activated, something that, you know, we put up, there is a pole between the road and the building.
And it is a
that
CMP,
carries the
it
power.
is a CMP pole.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned that to me, and I asked Terry if she would talk to the people that did the lighting project to see if they haven't had a chance, I'm sure.
I sent an email.
To see if we could add a light on that pole. You know, I mean, I think it makes sense, because we're gonna have another street light to keep it in the package of our street lights. But I, again, had no idea what that would be worth, but I'm sure it's gonna be dark there, but, so really, there's two things there, there's the street light, for lack of a better word, on the pole potential, and then there's getting the outside lights on a switch as opposed to.
Yeah, right now, the whole building is on a timer, which isn't even working, the halogen lights, by the time they get wet, they don't work.
You're talking about all the outside lights.
Yeah.
So
But that is not only the big prison light, which is light pollution, and I think a little bit of overkill for the building, but the individual porch lights that light up the steps and walkways, those all are on one timer, it takes out the switch. Ends of the building, I can operate by switch, but the front of the building cannot, there's no switch system anymore, it's all tied into being downstairs and running the saw on the timer.
And what about the back lights? Isn't there one or two out back of those
Oh, those are all. the
prison
big-
lights? Yeah.
Yeah. But we.
Oh, when
did-
you say the end lights, you're talking about the door lights, not the prison lights. Yeah.
We did put a motion activated solar light on the back door to walk out.
Well, yeah, I mean, my thought is we have actually two sources of funding for that, and we have the money left over for, that we carried forward, but I don't know what that is, but,
What's left?
yeah.
Even in the surplus that was.
Well, no, we carried it forward in,
The relocation.
yeah, the relocation money, we carried it forward to use for,
So there's 20,000 the first year, and we spent
yeah.
1,200, I think, with the application of the state finance office and the architect fee.
Yeah, I don't remember how much, well, I got,
And the sprinklers, I
yeah,
can-
sprinklers,
I
yeah.
can look it up.
Yeah, sprinklers came after the close of the year. Well, it doesn't matter, so there's potential two sources of funding for that, there's the ARP funds and the other funds. But does it make sense to use the ARP funds for that, because you know, eventually that other money will close, if we don't spend it, will close out to surplus, so. But do we want to kind of look at where we end up with our ARP funds first? And but that might take some time. I think the first thing is we need to get some estimates. Terry's working on the street light,
Can I go ahead and
can you pull some?
I can buy?
Yeah, I mean, I can't even get a light installed.
I might have
Yeah,
some source there.
yeah.
Do you want more than one estimate, or you want me to find a commercial electrician who's willing to do the work on that?
You know, right now, if you can.
I know.
Willing to do it.
That's what
I mean, people aren't even willing to come looking for it.
No, it's, what is his name? Steve Allen, or does,
And
Ed Alley.
He might come, he might.
He does all the stuff for our sheet.
And he does for us too, he has, but
maybe he did those original.
Yeah,
I think he probably did.
he is.
So
really
that,
good, though.
that's.
Yeah, but he's super busy, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
But if I can get one,
Yeah.
by the time we get it, you could figure out the funding.
And I even asked Dan, our CEO, because he's an licensed electrician. And he's gonna try to put the light in the ambulance bay and also fix the light at the salt shed. But he told me he booked out for a year and a half. I mean, which doesn't mean he can't fit in little things here and there, but in terms of big work, he's booked out for a year and a half, so.
Is
$13,695 in the relocation
after the spring.
after the spring.
Okay,
That,
so yeah, why don't you try to pull some numbers together, we can put this on the agenda, because I do think if we're gonna run that building for 4 or 5 years down there, at a minimum, we should have decent lighting in the parking lot.
It should be safe.
Okay. That it on your right, ideas for ARP?
yeah,
Okay. Thank you. Planning board, I think we might be there.
I think so.
Huh? I just wanna make sure that I have,
I made, I
Yes.
did make you a copy of it.
huh?
I did make you.
I mean, that's
Thank you.
6,000 reiterations.
So this one, it says on the very front of it, amended September 27th, 2022.
Okay.
Good.
I suggest that we, if and when we approve this, which I anticipate that we will in a few moments, that we should have Terry as the town clerk, write on it, approved by Board of Selectmen September 2022. That would be my suggestion, and sign her name to it. So,
You know that, Irv is not gonna be at the meeting this coming month. So what does that imply for approving this?
nothing, I thought you guys.
So it's already, you're okay that you approve them, even if it was before the date?
Yeah, because I think I actually put in here that you guys approved it
Okay. good.
last Thursday.
Yeah, and now we need to approve it, and then it'll be put to bed. So, is there a motion? Jeff, I'll give you the honor.
Yeah, I will move that, we approve the planning board bylaw amendments, including the addendum recommended by the, planning board.
Is there a
I'll
second?
that.
Okay. Further discussion. I will admit, I am really pleased to see this happen. I think this is a big step to providing public notice for major projects in our town. And I think it's something our citizens deserve to learn about before it goes to the planning board, not 30 days after and the appeals period has gone by or whatever. So I'm pleased that we finally are here. Further discussion? All those in favor? Right, so Terry, can you do that, what I suggested?
I can, if I have coffee.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you.
Keep going.
Guys, you want me to write on the back of it?
No, not the back.
On the front.
On the front or wherever, just, yeah, probably the front.
Okay.
Because, I mean, I opened my folder on my planning board folder, and I had 7 versions in there. So, I threw them away.
All right, use this one.
All right, great, good, thanks, Jeff. Thank you, Catherine, too, for helping out with that, right. So you said Earl's not gonna be at the next 2 planning boards?
I know, next meeting is not gonna be here, so we have to work, and, but we have an application, so,
So you said the next,
no, and the next one.
just the next one, okay, that was my question, okay. All right, discussion on the fire truck lease purchase options, we did get them some edits from Kristen. I'll be honest with you, I could hardly make them out.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Tiny.
I tried to make them bigger and then it would cut off the top of it.
Yeah, that's right on mine.
So is it something she needs to resend, or is it a problem on our end?
I don't know.
It could be how she sent it.
Yeah. Because it looked like she sent it, I don't know, it was weird the way she sent
It's
it.
like a book copy.
Right.
Could you ask her to resend
resend
it? Just tell her we can't
Yep.
read it. I think it's a computer glitch issue. But if she doesn't know, we can't read it.
It looks like it was copied as a book copy because
Yeah,
it's like 2 pages,
right.
but very, very small.
But what I did see didn't seem very major, but it's not pressing right now anyway.
Right.
So,
Yeah, it didn't seem to be earth shaking on what they recommended.
No. And I know you were the one that had the most concerns about it, so.
And she's not concerned with it. She wants to go to New York.
Well, we won't necessarily go this route anyway, but we, okay, so is there a motion to table this? Not take any action? Okay. Other than Terry's gonna try to get, and we can throw it in the fire truck financing file, and when we get to cross that bridge, we can pick it up. So I guess you can take that off the agenda for now. Okay, Jeff, you also asked for this next item to be on the agenda, the discussion of the evaluation difference of the state.
Yeah, and I think we actually did that last time. Was there anything left over from it?
Well, we didn't have
The new one.
the new study, which actually is the first time I've ever seen the waterfront property is actually lower, if I'm reading this correctly, than
Yeah, it looks like regular residential lots were 85% lower. And waterfront lots were 89%.
right, which is kind of contrary to every one of these I've ever seen. I do have the assessment report for the period, well, it says 2021, and at that time, the residentials were 97% and the waterfront was 90%. So this has been a complete reversal, which that anecdotally kind of shocked me.
Well, so they're looking at what year were they?
Well,
So 2020. Yeah, that's about the time the blow hit the bubble started. Here. At the time, I don't think it made a difference whether you're on the water or not.
or water influence, as they call
I think houses were selling for way more than properties were selling for way more than they were valued.
But it feels like to me that we need to have, once we contract for our assessors agent for January 1st on, we need to have a conversation about this form where we checked off the 94%, which is what triggered the deduction. Does it make sense to have that conversation before we engage our assessors agent, whether it's a new one or the existing one, or not? Basically before January 1st or after January 1st.
When do we have to certify this?
Well, we did this one.
What have we done this year?
Oh yeah, this one was done. Well, the final deadline is June 1st in 22.
So we've got a year before we have to redo it.
Well, not a year, but it's already October.
Yeah.
But we got a while.
Yeah.
So I think I just assume personally wait, and then if we're still with RJD, we have a conversation with them. If we're with someone else, have a conversation with them.
Right.
No sense in having a conversation with someone who might not even be here.
Yeah.
So,
And I'd like to have some more data available to us.
well, when do these come in typically, Terry, do you know?
I thought that came in just a month or so ago, maybe. I don't have mine with me. I think it was,
Says September 2021.
Yeah,
I think
it
it's
does.
really September 20.
I think it was.
Well, then
September
that
20. I
is
looked
the
at that and I think they
Preliminary of 2022.
didn't change all the 21s.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's put this on the agenda, sometime in January. Terry, if you could maybe put that on a little tickler file or something, so we don't forget, because this is one of those things that's easy to forget, and then all of a sudden you gotta sign in the deadlines the next day or next week.
Does
So,
it mean you're going to engage in a potential evaluation of the properties in town?
that would be the extreme, but I would, that's not a decision we're gonna make tonight, but.
And my preference is that we do not do a full eval. We're still in the eighties. I'm 80%, above 80%, so I'm not hard over for doing a full eval. But I do think it's been a long time since they've done area reevals, where they say, waterfront in this area goes up 10%, waterfront in this area goes up 7%, and inland goes up 15% now, to bring them all.
Yeah, I actually was surprised, we're not as unequal as I thought we were gonna be.
Right.
Which is, like I have said before, is, as long as everybody is treated equally and fairly.
Right.
But, so I don't know what it would mean, but it potentially could mean that, but at this sitting here tonight, I would doubt that.
But last time the person said that if we were, even that it was 82%, we were losing money from the state.
Right, and that's why we need to make an adjustment to get back into that, but that doesn't necessarily, the only remedy for that is not a full-blown reval. I think it's what Jeff was just talking about to get us back into that.
For that matter, you could, with an assessor's agent working on it, you could just say, all waterfront influence lots are raised 11%, and all other residentials are raised 15%, and just leave it at that. That would satisfy the requirement, get us all to 100.
Which for everybody in the public does not mean your tax bill would raise 15 or
Right,
11.
right.
Yeah.
It's simply its valuation does, and it's
No.
spread differently. Right. What? I can hear the phone call already.
There's not a direct line between your property valuation and how much you pay in taxes.
Yeah, it's proportionate to everybody else,
That's
so.
right.
Okay, so we'll put that off until January. Just anecdotally, I mean, I think, well, the other reason I wouldn't go for a full retail right now at all is because I think we're in a very volatile market.
That's the other.
That we're still coming out of the pandemic, and I played golf the other day with a guy who is an appraiser and in Portland area, and he told me 3 months ago they were swamped, working every day, and all of a sudden doing refinances for garages and decks and additions, as well as home sales for appraisals for banks, and he said it's just falling off the cliff.
When you go
Drive right up.
from 3% interest to 6%
Yeah.
interest in 2 months.
Yeah.
That'll
Yeah.
dampen.
So I have, and that's usually sort of the first cog, link in the chain, so to speak, as it kind of comes down. So I think things may cool, but who knows? Okay. We do need to execute the municipal evaluation return, though. Correct, Terry?
Yeah.
Which I had out a second ago. And this is for 21. Excuse me, for 22.
Yeah.
So is there a motion to execute this?
So
It's right here.
yeah, I move that we approve and sign the 2022 municipal valuation.
Is there a second? Okay, further discussion? All those in favor? And we need to, is that in our packet? To be signed, so I can keep this one?
Yeah.
Wait, I approved. Okay. Moving right along. All right, we did new business A and B. We did C. We did D. We did E. Okay, this was kind of my fault. We hired Linda Garat to take notes, minutes for the planning board, which she went to the last meeting, and I forgot to ask Terry to put on the agenda that we needed to hire her. So since she's already done it, I would entertain a motion to hire her as employer as the minute taker for the planning board.
I'll make a motion that we hire Linda Garat, as the minute taker for the Conservation Commission and Planning Board. Is that what it-
No.
Oh, from.
No.
That has
Just the
one.
planning
Oh,
board.
for
That's
the
the only
planning
paid
board.
position, yeah. She
Okay.
does the other one on volunteer basis, so we don't have to do
Okay.
that.
For the Planning Board.
It's pronounced Garrett.
Garrett. Okay.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Further discussion? I don't know how permanent this is gonna be. Terry talked with Linda, and of course, we hired someone new today. But Terry and I were thinking that if Linda is interested in doing this, at least on a short-term basis for a few months, that would be great, while this person learns other things and doesn't get totally overwhelmed. And then maybe down the road, if Linda wants to back away from it, and this person, the new hire, wants to take it over, that would be good. But if Linda doesn't, we can cross that bridge when we get to it. And, my sense was she was kind of doing us a favor, so. But, so it's, with that in mind, all those in favor? Okay. All right, Terry brought to my attention that the mowing contract expires this fall. That contract was entered into 3 years ago, and none of us were here. The current contract is with Wilson Construction. And unfortunately, Terry wasn't here either, and she can't find a copy of it. But we did find the one from the previous 3-year period. But I wanted to, the reason I wanted to start thinking about this is because I'm not convinced we're gonna have a lot of people interested in this. I hope we are, but I'm not convinced we are. So I'd like to kind of get this started sooner than later. I mean, it doesn't have to be next month or anything, but, and I also wanted to put something in the proposal to deal with the damage that we're seeing with stones. I don't know whether it's just a heads up or some sort of penalty, or if it has to be some sort of, you can't use certain equipment in certain places. I'm not sure what that looks like, what that is, but that's why I want to start this conversation now. And I didn't know if Penny had any thought, as our cemetery overseer, had any thoughts on that, or I know you have concerns about it, so.
Well, the issue has been the turnover with the mowers. The last mowing job done at the library was lovely. They trimmed everything, they mowed on diagonals and it was like that way, but it hasn't been that case for most of the year. And I mean,
Turnover.
there was a branch on the ground under a tree, so they mowed around it. I went out and moved the branch, so next time they would mow the lawn at the beginning of it. And so I would like to see a privately contract each cemetery by someone who would care about that cemetery, not go through there with a zero clearing, zero turnover that has a 6-inch back in old vulnerable stone that we had repaired 2 years ago and they damaged by hitting them with the phone. And I thought it was part of the vandalism, but it wasn't. They showed me clear marks that they're all very consistent, how high they are off the ground. And there's a footstone with repeated damage, and it's just not the right equipment to mow cemetery, but I don't think you're going to find one big mowing contract that would be willing to look out for cemeteries and keep them different. Or it's hills, it's all hilly, that's not appropriate, you know, by the field.
Plus, there's no grass in it.
Right.
Well, that's why I wanted to start this conversation. I don't think we're gonna solve it tonight, but, I did go and speak to, and when Penny showed the damage to me when they were doing the repairs, I went and spoke to Vanessa at Travis Wilson's office. She said she would pass the word, but she said, same thing Penny said, she said, we're just having, you know, it's turnover all the time, and it's new people, and, you know, but she was very cooperative, and so she would pass it on to Travis and pass it on to the mowers, and,
Does he
So-
typically put this out to bid and,
yeah,
and that we only have one person bidding on it, or?
I don't know what happened
There was
last time.
two last time.
Yeah. We've had trouble with this over the years. I mean, sometimes we've gotten very cheap bids, and come July, we found out why.
Yeah.
What?
They disappear.
Yeah, one year we just walked, you know, I don't think people understand how difficult it is to mow a cemetery. It's not
I
like mowing
could
a
get
ball
an
field.
idea that it's not
It's not like mowing a ball field, you know, where you
So,
just-
the Thorndike has worked out very, very well.
yeah, but that's a small.
It is.
So, I mean, we could try to do it. I mean, well, we used to have someone who mowed,
For Bill.
Forest Hills, who lived across the street. They're obviously no longer with us, and, not doing that. But up here, it's been mowed by machine for quite a while. We've never had anyone sort of take that one under their wing that I recall.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's too big.
Too big.
Yeah. Right. I mean, it could,
And-
mowing that with a hand mower could take a long time.
Well, even a, you know, a hybrid.
Yeah.
Of a modest size would be a lot better than
Yeah.
these drill turns. They're just, and they just go fast as they go.
Yeah. So I think at a minimum, we're gonna have something in there that they need to, you know, have due care and diligence, and would be responsible for damage and.
One thing I thought about was splitting out the old stuff and maybe mowing there every other week or
What do you mean mowing where?
at the village, you know, you've got the modern.
Right, yeah,
The stones aren't so vulnerable.
yeah, and it's a little cleaner too.
Did it, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's laid out.
Yeah.
Better.
Whereas the other ones are kind of,
Oh, they're 200 years old.
right, no, I know, and that's the difficult, and that's possible, and you don't get as many visitors in the older sections either.
Well, you'd be surprised, but I think
Yeah,
there's
but-
more understanding there than. you know.
Yeah. So,
And when they have rails, they were done by the family. That they would go have a picnic at the cemetery, and they would take their tears and their thighs, and then they would clean up their own family plots. There was real pride in the plot, and they had rails and steps, and it was good.
hmm,
It was more, and then when the families got older, and that's when perpetual care came into being. And, the employees referred to mowing and not necessarily stone care. That was always the family's responsibility, and it still is. Well, we are repairing these old stones that are endangered in law.
okay, so anyway, something to think about, let's keep it on the agenda, and,
But we did repair all vandalized stones and the lower dam stones, and we managed to do several more this year. We have started to clear between Dublin and the cemetery to open up that area that's out of view. There are the vandalism done, so it's working very good there. He's going up to 900 a day next year, and we use the day, if we keep the same budget,
evening,
based on that.
yeah. Okay. And we had a little money left over from the Avenue work, and from the Greystone Matters work.
Yeah.
So the two avenues, was 6 and 7, or 5 and 6. 5 and 6 have really humped up in the middle and people were bottoming out. So I talked to Jimmy Calic and he's gonna go up there with a skid steer and see if he can kind of scarve off that hump and see what that takes to do that for those two. And then if there's some money left, maybe bring in some gravel to fill up some of the lower spots, so. And then that'll be it for this year, right? Yeah, so. Anything else you wanna? Okay.
Before we leave that.
Yeah.
The current contract though runs out this year, right?
Yeah.
So,
In October, it's their last.
right. So we don't really have a lot of time to get out and move.
Well, we're quite today.
Yeah, but most of them,
You want to do it before they're all filled.
yeah, most of them. are
Oh, no,
set now.
that's why I wanted to put it on the agenda, I agree,
Most
but
of them are set next year's.
Yeah.
Already.
Yep,
We may want to put this out sooner rather than.
well, then we need to formulate what do we want to put changes into it, so. I think we all need to come prepared, including Penny, at our next meeting, and we're gonna have to sit down and hash out what we wanna do, and maybe sit here with a word processor and. Or maybe even have a little workshop meeting or something and do it. On, if you feel that we're,
I do think.
yeah, so I believe me, I understand, just getting anybody to do anything, it's just.
One of knowing this, where are you?
Well,
So, somebody will eventually bid on it. It just may cost. us.
yeah, yeah. It's like everything's for sale, just a matter of what.
Right.
Well, St. George is known by the triple and.
Yeah.
The cemetery, not really.
We'll see what happens. All right, so next agenda, or do we want to set up a little workshop to work on this? Is it that, you think we're that critical?
No.
Okay. Demo debris stickers. They expire at the end of December, right?
Yeah.
We're not talking the transfer station, I'm talking out here. So, what are you just asking us what we want to do for price?
Yep.
Basically, you've got the stickers on order.
Yeah, they're all in same color as the transfer station.
Is that a good thing?
Oh, that's where they are now. I mean, it just makes sense. Kind of keep people on the same page. Yeah. The transfer station is going up to $20 today.
And I was at 10 for 2 years.
Yeah.
We don't, the transfer station requires it to be put on a vehicle. We don't require that, correct?
Correct.
So people can just pass them around and use them. Is that something we want to think about?
I think just to write their license plate number on it so that they're using names. But nobody probably questions it. Is that?
Probably, I mean, I think when we first did that, it did help. Because we were really getting a lot of abuse, but.
I think it's starting to pick up more as the years have gone on and stickers are out there.
Yeah.
We're gonna pass around.
As you get to the end of the 2 years. Yeah. But I mean, we could actually, we could require that they be put on the vehicle. I'm not suggesting that, I'm just saying we could require that.
I do remember there was a huge uproar co-op.
Oh, yeah, oh, no, people aren't gonna be happy, because I got 2 vehicles and I got,
Right.
and I say, yeah, and that's what I have one on my truck and I have one on my van. Because I always end up with the wrong one. But people don't like that.
I get it. I mean,
Huh?
I wouldn't like that to have two from one household either, just depending on which vehicle we're taking.
Yeah.
But
But-
usually for some, you're taking a truck or something.
Yeah, but a lot of people bring stuff in back of their Subaru with, you know, they spread a top out, you'd be amazed at how much junk goes in that.
That's what I would have to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not suggesting that, I'm just thinking that it would cause it,
Could I ask what the price is currently is?
well, it's currently $10, but
Which is,
for 2 years.
unbelievable.
Not, a lot of people don't think so.
We still get
And that-
comments, this used to be free.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. Then it was $3 and that was horrible.
Human nature.
I know,
I think, we've got one on each vehicle. We did it for a long time, and then my husband was gonna be on a long road trip, and I knew I was gonna have to take stuff, so I just went and bought another one for a whole $10. And even though I was halfway through the second year, I
well,
can't go out for a burger.
I know, but to a lot of people, $10 is a lot, so. No, I hear you, but, so we got a couple of questions. We have price, Terry's looking for a price. I brought up the idea that we want to require putting them on a vehicle, and I also think we should suspend selling them from now until the end of the year, and just give them away. The current ones.
Because it's such a.
It's only
short
3
period.
months
Yeah.
left, and people come in and, you know, I don't know, it just seems. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but
Do you never
I mean-
use like a prorated rate or is it?
never have, and I don't wanna make it complicated.
Yeah.
I was just, you know, okay, as of October 1st, if you
Right.
want one, buy a new one and you can use it, as soon as the new ones come in, you can use it for the. That's maybe even the better idea, once we have the new ones in, what do they do?
They said 3 to 4 weeks, and it's been a week, and since it would have.
Well, that actually is another, that's a hybrid idea, is if they buy a new one, you
I like
give
that
them a
idea.
new one, and
Yeah.
then
They can use it early.
they can use it early. Is
Yeah, I like that.
I do too.
that gonna confuse Dana?
So if they come in and buy a new one, they can use it immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just tell Dana that
Yeah.
if it's orange or, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess we need to deal with the price.
I like.
Okay, so if that's the case, we don't need a motion because they are $10, right? And do we need a motion on the selling the new one, or just have Terry do that administratively?
You could just, actually just do that.
And what about requiring that they be on attached to a vehicle?
I'll vote thumbs down.
Okay,
I'll go with Jeff on that.
okay,
Thanks.
all right, so we're done. Okay. You all set?
Yep.
And you'll talk to Dana about that once they come in. and-
Once they come in,
All right, monthly reports.
While we're still on subject, you don't sell the ones to the co-op here.
No, they have to
You have
go,
to
they
physically
have to
go
go
there.
there.
Yeah.
To buy them there.
That's because they put them on the vehicle.
Yeah, they could.
Right.
And they need to put it on, you have to have, you guys have a registered name, and you have to have a tax bill, or, I don't know. I don't have one, but.
They're pretty strict with it.
Yeah.
And
Where it goes.
while we're talking about transfer stations, we now have a new representative, there you go. It absolutely annoys the hell out of me that it says, the big sign when you pull in says, Thomaston Transfer Station. And it had, I mentioned to Walter 2 or 3 times. And I thought to myself, you know, we're paying for about a third of that. And actually, my brother, when he was here 2 years ago, said, oh, Thomas, don't let you use their transfer. And I said, no.
Oh, good.
Huh?
As the new guy, I will bring that up.
You check it out first to make sure they haven't changed
Yeah,
it.
right.
It's just a pet peeve of mine. Everything else says, you know, what is it?
Oh,
ST,
yeah.
yeah.
Just
CET.
And I imagine the bad news of that is everybody's gonna say, what's that stand for? But- Okay, ambulance report, any, questions on reports? Okay, Carrie, anything you wanna tell us about concerns on revenues or expenses? I know it's fairly early, but
No,
excise tax,
I
kinda,
think we're just chugging along right now.
you haven't seen any dramatic changes or?
No,
Okay. We probably should do a little bit of a deep dive on that, maybe in another month or so. Okay, anything else? We got the warrants. Schedule. Should we double check our schedule? We only have October 18th. Is that the only thing we have scheduled?
yes.
You had to get, that's the agenda to talk about the work on the village.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Before we move the schedule, Penny had mentioned to me, the thought about if we were gonna be stripping the shingles off the Little Red Schoolhouse, did it make sense to try to insulate that building from the outside at that time? And I talked to John Hanson about it briefly, and he did say that, you know, that if you wanted to do that, and I think that a lot depends on what the use is gonna be and so on and so forth, that you could hire a company to come and, you know, they drill these holes and blow in the insulation, and then they plug it. So then when the shingles get stripped, you strip that plug out and shingle over it. So I did mention it to Carol Dumont. And her sense was that they're not gonna heat that building at all, to speak of.
They are going to have to keep it minimally heated for the pipes don't freeze.
Well, are there pipes in the Little Red Schoolhouse itself?
No, but that also heats the kitchen section.
Yeah.
And we had, in historical society, talked about how bad it is for the artifacts sitting out there to not heat. And then you came to 50 degrees and it was voted that the meeting room, and I assume the new museum would be heated to some minimal temperature. You turn that off when winter comes in, it's a mess.
Yeah.
We have white mold growing in that meeting room, like you wouldn't believe, because they don't.
And when you say the meeting, when you're talking about the historical.
Yeah.
No, she's not talking about that.
Well, I know, but
Yeah.
I'm considering it as a whole now. And I will argue that they do maintain some heat out there. They're going to keep
Yeah.
artifacts out there. They've got to.
Well, I don't know that she said that they weren't gonna heat it, at all. I wasn't that precise about this. I actually invited her tonight because she had other plans. So I don't know whether this is something we wanna look into or not, because I do think that if we are gonna do this, then now's the time.
I will tell you that we did, receive a grant to insulate when it was blinded. And, because it was paneled on the inside, there were limited places where they could drill holes that wouldn't be unsightly. So they were in around the windows, they laid insulation on the attic floor. And because of the construction, and only being able to access at the top of the panel, and the panel is like 6 feet high, and then there's another 4 to 5 feet to the ceiling. They said because it's a 200-year-old schoolhouse, the bicentennial of that schoolhouse was celebrated in 2017. That the construction would be done, but there would be cross pieces.
Yeah,
Blowing in
angle
from the
bridge.
top was not going to be
Yeah,
effective.
yeah.
That they needed to put a hole like every 2 feet or something.
Well, that was the thought, that was John was talking about,
Yeah.
you could do that, and so, I mean, I don't have strong feelings about one way or another, and I don't know much about it, and haven't really looked into it, but I do think that if there's any interest there, that it is the time.
Yeah.
But,
We're gonna have, when we take the shingles off, we'll probably.
And the very least, put a vapor barrier up.
Yeah, no, I think we already talked about that.
I mean, there's nothing there.
Yeah. We talked about putting up, Chai Power or something like that,
John Hess probably doesn't know that they blew some.
probably.
But it's very minimal.
Yeah.
It was only around the window frame.
Yeah, I think that's what he was talking about doing this time.
No, he was talking about they could drill holes in the stud bays. It would be unsightly until you got the shingles replaced, but.
From the outside.
From the outside, and it wouldn't be perfect. You're never gonna get it perfect into a
Right.
2-year-old, 100-year-old building.
That place is gold, though. I mean, it's drafty. I think it was what, 2,400 on heat last year, and that was very minimal. Easy.
The only heat in there is the Renai heater, right? And is there heat in the kitchen area?
Not this time, but they are,
Okay, so that could be heated with a different source.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to find out.
Yeah, I will too. But yeah, I mean, there's companies that do that, I'm sure they're booked out 3 years. Itchy and Scratchy is one of them, down in, you see that,
gonna do,
Yeah.
you see their trucks everywhere.
if you have, plan to do one 5 days at a time.
Yeah, that's gonna be even more expensive, so if they gotta come and mobilize, and,
I don't know how else they're going to keep that.
well, they could, John's point was they could go around and completely do the thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, right, plug it, and that would be the cheapest, probably, sorry. My college student loan. Ah,
I think there's some.
On the side, you can-
it's supposed to be able to hit this ignore button, but, what do we wanna try to get a price?
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
Okay. Something we can chase down, maybe, hopefully. All right. You good with that, Sue?
Mhm.
Okay. Where we get the money to do it, I don't know. We do have that fund. Hopkins, right,
Is there a lot left in there?
for the building?
50,000
Yeah.
to the, for only the village school place.
Is there 50,000 left?
I don't know
I don't know what anyone spent on it.
Yeah.
And the historical society also has 50,000 for whatever they want.
So it's all of them,
You guys are the trustees for all these. And the library has 30,000.
So the Historical Society has money for repairs, but we're the trustees of that fund. You're not talking about separate funds that the Historical Society has themselves.
Yes, I am. The
You are.
historical society has 50,000 on their own. They're going to come in and ask you to.
Right, but it's not theirs, it's not theirs, it's for their use.
Right.
But you're not talking about another pot that they have in their own bank account.
No.
Okay, I just wanted to be
You got
clear.
it.
The money,
I
the money
understand.
left.
I just wanted people to be clear on that.
Yeah, but it's separate from the 50,000 to maintain the school.
Right. I just want people to be clear that it's not.
And
we're not
they're
talking-
looking into a heat pump for the meeting, so.
Because that would also help with the moisture.
Okay, I think that's, we're gonna do schedule. So the only thing we have scheduled now is. So we wanna look in November, and we're just gonna try to do one in October, right? So can't do the 8th. That's election day. So 15th and 29th. I know Tuesday's a tough for you, right, because of the Lions. When's the Lions? The 15th. Well, we can't do the 1st because I'm not back until the 3rd, so. So we could do the 9th. Although Terry, you might not want to do that.
That's the second Wednesday of the month, the Conservation Commission is here.
Yeah, but they're done fairly quickly. They're usually done. I mean, we could move our meeting, but you don't want to do the 9th.
I'll probably be brained by then.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna be up counting and, you know, it's a gubernatorial race. Yeah.
Let's go ahead and do the 15th and 29th. I'll
Okay.
miss another meeting. Because I'm missing one on the October 18th.
Okay. I mean, there's nothing saying we have to do Tuesday.
But when you try to move, you always get something there.
Right, yeah.
Mondays tend to be wide open, but I think we do Mondays.
Well, Monday's Brian's usually here.
Now, right.
That's right, yeah.
Very pretty busy on Monday.
Yeah. Why are you gonna be busy on Monday?
Never mind.
Huh? What?
That's not what we're working on.
Oh. Well, don't take too much of your time.
Monday morning. Come on, then.
Oh, Monday nights, okay, she can do it Monday night. I thought you meant Monday day. All right, is there a motion to enter executive session to discuss a legal matter with our attorney? She's hopefully available by phone. She thought she'd be available at 7:30.
I make a motion that we enter executive session in 405 E. To meet with our attorney.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
I'll try to call her. No, I'll wait a second. Good night.
Thank you, Catherine.